Oh, look, obviously they've won their last 3 games, and last week's win against GWS was pretty impressive. So we'll go through the normal process, understand what they're doing well, what we need to be aware of, and then focus on ourselves and how we want to play.
Do you think that changed at all in the last 3 weeks in terms of the way they're playing, or I guess the production of the way they're playing?
I think the output of how they're playing, they're sort of seeing the benefit of some of the work they've obviously done. I think since the bye, and certainly their second and third quarter last week was some pretty powerful footy. So another good test, another good challenge this week.
They'll obviously be desperate to try and get up into the top 8. When a team's got that sort of motivation, do you have to be is it an extra challenge or extra careful with them?
Oh, look, I think as I said, each week, each team provides a unique challenge and test, and Collingwood's going to be no different this week. It's a great opportunity. We've been on the road for 2 weeks. Great opportunity for us to get back home. Big day in terms of one of our greats playing his 300th, and hopefully we get a big crowd along to support and get behind the team. And for us, it's about business as usual. We want to keep winning and keep pushing our claims to play finals and beyond.
How do you sum up Tomo ahead of his 300?
It's a huge achievement. I mean, I don't know, I think the number's about 75 guys, I think, who have played 300 games of AFL footy. So it's a massive achievement, and one which I know he and his family would be really proud of, and certainly as a club, it's a proud moment to have guys play 300 games. So, and he's been a super player. I mean, you don't play 300 games of AFL footy without having some real genuine quality, both as a person and as a player. And it's going to be a great night for Tomo.
What are those sort of things that he brings to the club?
His competitive spirit is probably the thing that stands out for me. He just competes, and he wills himself on, and playing that as an inside mid, 300 games as an inside mid, in a combative way that he plays. It's as I say, it's going to be a really special and good night for him, and we're looking forward to playing some good footy.
And he's like to make those milestone situations an emphasis in sort of pre-game addresses.
Oh, look, it's probably one which the players know. I'm not sure that players necessarily go out and play extra hard based on the fact that it's say Tomo's 300th. I mean, we'll go about normal business in terms of how we want to play and prepare for the game, but we recognise it's a unique night for the footy club and for Tomo.
What have you learned about him? You would have had judgments on him from afar. What have you learned about him just being his coach this season?
Well, I was actually in a fortunate spot. I was at the club when he first came back from Melbourne. So the first 2 years he was at the club, I was a midfield coach and coached a young Scott Thompson. And I got to see him when he first arrived as a young guy that was aggressive, probably a little bit impatient, but clearly driven. And so returning down the track to run across a slightly older, slightly wiser Tomo, he's just matured as a man, has gone forward. He's obviously become a father as well, and so he's in a really good space, and he's playing some good footy. And as I said, it's going to be a good night, special night to honour him.
I heard you earlier in the week say that where the Josh Jenkins conversation sits, away from the actual contract itself. How have you seen the way he's dealt with the outside speculation and been able to get on with the job so effectively?
Yeah, look, as I said all along, Josh has really grown this year. Not only his performance as a player, but he's grown in his involvement with the group and leading within the group, and certainly his input behind closed doors, whether it be with the forward line group or with the team, has continued to improve, and that's, I think you're seeing that on field. I'm a great believer that you sort of get out what you put in a lot of cases, and Josh has certainly put in more in terms of his group engagement this year, and we're seeing that in the field. So, and he's also in a good space that he understands it's not all about him or kicking goals, it's about collectively how they work together, and that's been one of the strengths of certainly the forward line group this year.
A lot of players don't really deal well with speculation about contract. Has it worked the other way with Josh, spurred him to play any better?
I don't know. It's hard for me to assess that, to be honest. I think he's continued. He started the season in good form, and he's continued that. He's working out what it takes for him to play consistently well at that level, and that's really what's allowing him to play well week in, week out.
Don, I think you've been quite fortunate this year. I think you've only used 27 players all up. Just how fortunate have you been, and how beneficial has it been for the group to have a solid set of players there?
Yeah, well, continuity is always important, and continuity not only in playing but in training. So we've been able to get those guys managed well during the week, and credit goes to Brett Burton and our high performance team of guys who have from day one really set a program out about how we'd measure out our pre-season, our plan towards around NAB Cup, and look, we've had some fortune along the way. You don't end up with sort of less injuries through without having some good fortune on the way. But credit to those guys for the program they put in place and even how we manage the players week to week. So that just allows them to build a good playing bond together, and that's some of the results we're seeing, as they're playing during the weeks.
If after this week and you do get that 12th win and you do look like you secure a final spot, will you look at blooding any more young players, give them experience before finals comes and you may run into injury trouble?
No, we'll continue to go through the same process we go through. We'll look at the side, we'll assess who's in good form in the SANFL, who maybe is not playing as well, and we'll select according to form. We're not going to disappear off and try and be too cute. I think we just keep picking the guys we want to pick, who are playing well and are playing the team role.
Are you playing season best footy at the moment, do you think?
I don't really judge, to be honest. The pleasing part for us is we come to work on a Monday after a good win last Sunday, and the guys are striving to get better. The first thing they say is, how can we get better? And that's a good spot to be in. And we're not sitting here being satisfied with what we've achieved. We recognise we've had some good wins. We've put ourselves in a good spot, but the game changes really quickly. So we can't sit back and overly reflect. We've got to understand what we've done and what it's created, but also what we need to do to keep getting better going forward. So that's the space we're in.
You mentioned being back at Adelaide Oval this weekend. 7 rounds to go. You've got 5 games here at Adelaide Oval. How helpful is that?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's great for our fans and our supporters, which, one thing I've noticed coming across and being in charge of the team this year is that the atmosphere we're able to create here is unique and special in the competition. So to be back home playing those games is going to be great. As we had 2 away last 2 weeks and back here Saturday night, let's hope we get a full house. It looks like the weather's going to disappear and we'll get some fine weather for Saturday night.
Collingwood's got a pretty tall lineup. Cox, Cloak, Moore and Grundy, just to know a few.
Yep.
Are you confident you've got the height to match it with them?
Yeah, look, our back 6 or 7, with Hardigan, Cheney, Lever, Talia down there to name a few. We think we can cover that up.
Cloak was back to his best, clunking a few last weekend. Was
Yep.
it him or was it the glove?
I'm pretty sure it was him. He's returned to some form. He obviously spent some time out of the team, and between him and whether it was White who came back in and had a good game last week, so they've got some dangerous tall forwards. They've got a dangerous group of half forwards that Varco, DeGoey, Blair, these guys that get up the ground, and their midfield's strong. So it's another good test, and this comp doesn't throw up easy games, and we've got another really good test come Saturday night, which is great.
Just with Cloak, he was back to form, but there was a bit of talk about that he almost looks a slightly different player, that he's worked hard on his work ethic, his agility and that sort of thing. Does that change the way that you might prepare for him?
No, not really. Not really.
Just go back, Don, when you said players come in on a Monday and say, ask how can we improve? What's your answer to that? I mean, are there any specific areas where you're pinpointing improvement?
Yeah, we review the games, and we're always looking at areas and things we can tweak and get better at. As I say, we don't walk away from any game going, we can't learn anything from the game. So win, lose or draw, you always learn something. When you see a trend of things, then that's when we try and address them and we train them differently. When they're an event, then generally we can move on. But there's always things we're looking to get better at. And whether it's in our ball movement, whether it's in how we're defending, whether it's in our contest work, we're always looking for ways we can get better.
So have you seen any trends which worry you?
We've seen a couple. I'm not going to go into the detail of what they are, but there's some things there that not really worry us, but things we want to keep improving. History tells me in sport, if you don't keep getting better and you stand still, people go past you really quickly. And we're in a high intensity, really full-on competition, and we can't be self-satisfied at all. We've got to keep looking for ways to get better.
Is that attitude common in teams you've been in the past, Don?
I think that attitude permeates through every sport. You look at, say, someone like Serena Williams, who wins Wimbledon and she's won 22 majors. You ask the question why. I think she's probably got enough money in the bank. She does it because of the thrill of winning, and she's continuing to challenge herself to get better, and that's what the best sports people do, and that's why we encourage our players to keep looking to improve.
Does it help handle the idea of peaking? People talk about peaking at the right time of the year.
Mm.
You're constantly looking to improve every single week. Does it help get rid of that?
I'd like to think it helps us go forward. As I said after last week's game, we don't look backwards. We're looking forwards, and this week it's Collingwood, Saturday night. Really good test against a side who's in really good form. Beat GWS last week at home, so we tend not to look too far forward, but we're looking right at them on Saturday night.
Last couple of guys. Streak's up to 7, Don. How do you handle the concept of a winning streak?
Just keep doing what we're doing. As I say, we don't talk about complacency or anything else. The reality is we control what we can bring and do. We can't control what Collingwood bring, but we expect what they'll bring will be high quality and test and a challenge for us. And we'll keep playing our way and keep preparing to play good footy. Doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but gives us the right headspace to be able to perform and play the way we want to.
How do you feel like, how does the streak sit on your shoulders or not at all?
Don't really think about it.
Seedsman and Hampton returned in the sample last weekend. Do you anticipate any changes?
Yeah, we've got match committee. We've got training tonight and then match committee tomorrow. So once again, we're in a good spot. I mean, Hampton's going to need a few runs. You haven't played all year, so it was great to get him back out there. Great for him to get through the game and come through unscathed and be able to keep training and get some continuity that I talk about. And Seaman got through and played well. So yeah, there's continues to be pressure for spots, and it's going to make for a good discussion.
Yeah, Luke Brown.
Yeah, Brownie won't play again this week, so he's still another. We're thinking one more week, so his plan would be we'll bring him up to full train next week to be available for Geelong.